Okay, so I'm using Baohong paper. This is 100% cold pressed paper. This is the Master's watercolor paper. I've drawn my simple watermelon shape, so it's just like an oval and, you know, just typical wedge of a watermelon. Has a little bit of a wedge kind of happening here. I don't like, I saw this photograph, I'll link it here. I didn't like the placement of it standing upward. I kind of turned it, but I kind of used this kind of watermelon, although I made the rind a little bit bigger because, you know, I can do whatever I want. And it's just for like inspiration. And you can make, I made this watermelon piece bigger than this guy. So it's just basic, simple shapes. It's basically a half of a circle here and an oval. You don't need me to see me draw that. And I just kind of wiggled in where I'd put the little veins of the deeper, darker part of the watermelon. So I love this paper because I do a lot of like really cool effects with lifting and with watercolor on this. I'm just erasing some of these deeper lines that I don't want to see. And then you just do the little teardrop shapes of the seeds here. I love to do this effect. And if you ever seen some of my videos, obviously you see me do it. And I love to use a flat wash brush when I'm painting something like this. Now I could use this size, this 3/4 inch, or I could even use a 1 inch, and any kind of crappy, water type brush for the 1 inch, because it's a good size. Here, I'll grab the 1 inch brush. So we're gonna mix up some of that wonderful watermelon color. I'm gonna play around with taking some quinacridone magenta, that's really bright pink, and grabbing a little cadmium red light and mixing the two, see if I like that color. It's a little too pinky, so maybe I'll grab a little pyrol Rubin from Holbein. Get a little more, get it a little bit more red. Pyrol Rubin is a really great red. And it's really kind of bright pink. I'm gonna grab a little bit more of this red and a little bit more of this. See, the cadmium red light is more of an orangey red. So if you don't want it so pinky, I'm testing it on my paper towels. And the consistency of the paint is loose enough to move it, right? Not super loose. So I would say like around milk, and I'm gonna keep dipping my brush into water and then picking this up. So here we go. Trying to paint around my little seeds. I'm just gonna go like this. Really kind of loose. Painting around my seeds. If I screw up, oh well. I can kind of lift the paint. Oop, I did screw up there. And that's the whole point, is to kind of get it in kind of quickly. Look at that. And this paper is really great because it has a nice texture to it. We can really do some really cool washes with this. So it is on the pinker side. I might want to add some color for some deeper tones. Playing with that. It's kind of flat wash kind of now. Simple. I'm going to lift a lot of this paint out of here because I don't need all this paint. And go back and get my pyrol Rubin. Right? And a little bit of that magenta. Kind of play with adding a little bit more deeper color. Just kind of, while it's damp, kind of playing with adding some of that in here. And a little bit around here. I don't want it to have one note of color, you know? A little bit more nuance to it. And I think I'll probably lift up some color up in here. It's looking a little too pinky. Go back and add a little bit of my red. Add some of that cadmium light. Now, I do, see, I filled it all in there. I know this seems counterintuitive to some people, but I am gonna lift some of the paint. I feel like it's a little too much. So grab a wet, damp brush, kind of lift it, and tap it back on a paper towel. Just lift some of this paint. Oops. It's a fun thing. This paper is really great. You need a really good paper to do this kind of stuff. And I love it. Maybe I'm gonna add a little bit more of this cadmium red light. Make it not less, make it a little bit less pinky. You can even add a little bit of yellow into this. More reddish. Playing around with the color tones a bit. Okay, I'm just gonna leave that for now. I'm gonna wipe this fun stuff away. Clean off my brush. For the green, I mix in Cabin Yellow Deep and Peacock Blue from Holbein. Holbein makes a really great color called Peacock Blue. It is pretty intense and fun, and you can make a nice great Kelly green with that, or a really beautiful chartreuse green. Now I'll have my Prussian blue with some burnt umber. I mix these two guys together and then grab a little bit of the yellow to make a deeper green. There's the yellow, and then mix those two. You see, you get that deep green, a little bit more blue. Really nice deep green. I want a pretty green, so I'm adding a little bit more blue, less brown. There we go. Have those two ready to go. Okay, I've got a little bit of pink going in here. We don't want that. Remove, remove. It can dull my green. So I'm going to go back and mix up some nice green again. Okay. So this is our first wash with this thing. I'm going to go right over here. I'm going to leave like a white area here. Try not to paint that. And try not to hit that watermelon. So we want like a little halo situation here where it is a highlight. A little bit lighter green. See, I'm maneuvering my brush, turning it, twisting it, but it's a big brush, so it fills in a lot of paint quickly. Now, see here? I left this white part of the paper. Now this is obviously wet paint on dry paper. I'm gonna clean up my brush, and I still have water on it. And I'm just gonna kind of maneuver this, clean off my brush again, and leave that white area. Grabbing into the paper towel. We want to keep that light. See? I'm kind of blending the rest of the area. Might want to grab a little more yellow. I want this a little bit brighter. Yeah. Even more yellow in here. You see? So now there's like a nice highlight happening there where the light would be shining on it. Look how fast they painted that because using a big brush. I will switch to a different flat brush. This is my 3/4 inch from Princeton, Velvet Touch series. And I get that light green again. So here the rind. It's basically white with a little bit of this light green. And you can just use this on the chisel end of the brush. Grabbing some more of this light green here. Like that. And we have the dark green that I'm hitting right next to it. Now, we don't want a line per se. We want to kind of blend it. So we'll clean up the brush again. We'll have some water on our brush. Same thing with this. You're just going to touch the edge of it. Kind of blend going towards the watermelon. See, you can pull it up like this. Go back and clean it a little bit. And move that paint. This way, that way. It's getting too close in here. You want to move that paint. Right? It's how you kind of blend the paint color. That like little limey green. You can even lift a little bit more of the color. And of course we have our wonderful deeper green. I'm going to mix this in here. And it's a little wet here, but we're going to try it anyway. It's thicker paint. Hit that edge. Now if it bleeds a little bit, that's kind of cool. We have this kind of really cool look. Now my green looks a little, not fun and vibrant. That's okay. I'm gonna go like that. Remove some of the paint and just touch on the edge, on the outside of that light green. Doesn't have to be perfect. You see how I'm kind of like struggling to get that? Look how fast that was. It's doing a little spider thing here. If it was thicker paint, it wouldn't move as much, but I love it. So this might be still wet and damp. We're gonna be playing with grabbing this brush and doing this fun little wiggle on the side. Here we go. Now it's just a line, but we can do some more wiggles to it. Add little touches of this, that. Or if you want to grab like just a round brush, here's my 12 Aqua Elite from Princeton. Grabbing some more of this color. And we're gonna go like this on the side. Has a little hair coming out. So basically make a line. It's already wet, so it's doing the kind of spider thing we wanted to do. Or you can maneuver it. I'm gonna make the paint a little bit thicker. Grab some yellow. So it won't move as much. I have my blue here. See, kind of, it's really kind of dissipated. Get a little bit darker. A line and kind of just do some little lines like this here and there. 1 or 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And it creates that fuzzy little line situation. Now I really love how this part came out. This part needs a little help, and then this part. So we need more medium green in there. Grabbing some more yellow, mixing those two colors that we already have. And I'll put that down here. I don't want to get too safe. I want to have some fun with this. And I will leave a little yellow on this. Clean up my brush. Kind of blend this. I still want to leave that highlight. And I want to make that center section kind of blend. So I'll grab some more of this lighter green. Went back over this, and I might have erased some of the lines, but I can go back over with that thicker paint. Remember this thick paint? It won't move as much. I'll put my line down, and then I can do like a little line here and there. Back and forth. Almost like you think about stitches. You can make it more of like a triangle too. And look, it would kind of blend up and bleed. Create that little fuzzy line. Isn't that, it was pretty simple. So that's your basic watermelon, and then we could add the seed in a second, but Ellen is going to challenge you. So take your picture now, while you enjoy it, of your basic watercolor watermelon. I'm just going to clean this up a bit. Now I'm going to have a little bit of fun kind of playing with color around it, because that's just sweet and nice, a little bit boring. I do want to move some of this, go back with the cadmium red light, a teeny bit of this magenta. Magenta seems to be overpowering, and my green is coming in here, so. Ooh, so you get that orangey color. Just a little swipe in there. I'm going to water that down. I really wanted to get some more of that orangey yellow in there. Some different tones happening. You can grab some yellow, and you can throw some like orange tones in there, as you see. I just kind of water that down and change the look of the watermelon. Okay. So I feel like out here, which is nice, kind of boring, right? We could just put a simple shadow, which is with ultramarine blue deep and burnt sienna. Mix those two colors. I like a little bit more blue tone. And then from here, you just kind of go like this. Put in your shadow. Call it a day. You've got your wonderful watermelon. You can put in your seeds. Now the seeds, there is pink behind it and then some black. So I'm going to go back with my pinks. I left it white, but I can kind of fill them in and then add the black. As you look at that photograph, I see that it's kind of colored inside and then the black is on top, but I've left spaces where it's going to go. Look how simple that was to do the watermelon. And now that it's dry also, you can kind of hit the top of that green. Well, this part might be a little bit wet still. If it blends and bleeds, it's fine. This is bleeding a little bit, but I don't seem to mind that. Look how simple that was to make that though. And I do feel like this is floating, this guy. So even though this one's a really dark shadow, I'll make a little bit of a shadow here around this one that's lighter. Because he feels like he's floating a little bit. Just adds a little something, right? A little bit darker by adding some more of that color under that watermelon. So he doesn't float. I'm gonna go add another deep color. It's gonna be bleeding because it's wet. Boom, 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 boom. You have mastered the watermelon. Right? You could add a little bit of this like slight light color too, just to give it a little punch around there. I like the dark. Boom. Shadow. Now my red is really bleeding into that. I'll have to lift a little of that. Probably should have waited till it was dry, but that's okay. I don't seem to mind. And they have like all kinds of like crack looking. So if you take your brush and just do these little tiny little lines, even do a liner, kind of wiggle some of this little wiggly, almost looks like it's cracked. A little bit here and there. But really, look how fast that watermelon was. This guy's sticking out here. Just kind of maneuver this a little bit. Okay, I will wait till this dries so I can put my black in. Almost at the finish line, grabbing the brush. I grab Lunar Black or Payne's Gray. And I'm just gonna put a little push down. I don't like a super black. Have it diluted a little bit. Your little seedling. I could put some white ones in there. I'm gonna put one that's in here like that. Right? I'm gonna make some of it's kind of diluted, and then some of it you can go back in and add a little deep color, maybe on the bottom or the top, but not the whole thing, because then it would just kind of look fake. Watermelon. And what I have noticed in the photograph, when I get super hyper realistic, you can kind of remove some color around it in here, in between where the seeds are. Just by lifting, like I showed you earlier. Now you might want to do this before you put the black in, but I kind of play with things. Not following the rules. Just doing that lift. Pretty cool, huh? Just your simple, run-of-the-mill watermelon. Very simple, short amount of time. Now, you know, I feel like, I don't know, it's too easy. I do want to add a little bit more depth. So I'm going to mix up some pyrol with some yellow. Just get a little bit deeper here. Or I can get some of the other parts of it a little bit lighter. You can play around with that. Like you can make this part a little bit lighter by lifting. See, going over the watermelon here. Look at that. Going off the page, going out here. It's my fun lifting kind of situation. I love it. Sometimes you can just play with it and see what happens if you just go like this. Take clean water and kind of play with, I wouldn't say wrecking the watermelon, but giving it some artistic license. Just see how this looks, you know, and I might just grab my paper towel and lift up, getting all this water over here. Because to me, it's looking kind of, I don't know, boring. So maybe I grab some green and play around with adding some yellow. Giving it some life. We did our typical watermelon, but you know, he's getting boring. So we're kind of playing with that a little bit. That's why I say take the picture, because I might end up changing it, which I have. Just makes it more fun. Just remove some of this. Oops, splotches. I made a splotch up here, but you know what? Who cares? Now, that's not for you. Just go back to the original fun guy and do what you do there. I'm not going to do too much on this one. I want to keep it somewhat normal. And if I have erased this, I might go back in and add a little bit of that line again. Just to get a little bit more artistic expression to it. When I feel like it's boring, I go do that. See, I'm going to add a little of this pink here. Ooh, I like what happened there. Just different. You see, you had the typical thing, you had the white rind, but it was just, it's bugging me. So I put a little color of red down there. I might grab a little bit more of this red. Just kind of bleed a little bit going through here. So I showed you how to just do it perfectly, and then you're just going to play with it. And it's always up to you which way you want to go. Add a little bit of green, like cast shadow, coming out this way. And then we have a cute watermelon. And that's how she wrote it. A little bit more darker color here. Just giving it some expression, because otherwise it's just a plain old watermelon, which maybe that's fine for you. Just doesn't work for me. Now it has some life, you know? And I might just kind of erase this dude up here a little bit. Give him some life too. It's all in the fun. You can choose to do it. You can choose to take this mission or not. But I love it. I enjoy it. I enjoy having fun and testing out, checking boundaries, seeing where I can fall on those boundaries, playing around with it. I might go back in with my shadow. I missed my shadow over here in the left. A little bit. Go back in there. Oh, the fun. And do want to lift a little bit of the color here so you can see the second one. This one's in front of it. A little bit dark on the bottom here. Play around with that a little bit. Fun! All right, I hope you enjoyed it. It's a watermelon. Have fun with it. Doesn't have to be serious. See how it's cooler that looks when it's all kind of moved around like that? So much better. So much more interesting than just a plain old watermelon. All right, let me know your thoughts. Yeah, so check out that wonderful watermelon photograph. Patreon members, I will give you the traceable. And if you want to be a Patreon member, click the link in the description box below. It's where you support my channel and my craziness and all the things that I do that are free here on YouTube, and I really appreciate it. Take care, and I'll speak to you soon.